Okay, today we're going to try to keep it brief. We're continuing with lesson 5.5. Yesterday we talked about translations when we have a shape slide on a coordinate grid. Now today we're going to be talking about two different things, so let's continue on. You're on page 180 right now, so if you're not there, I would like you to join us. And what we're talking about today, one of them would be reflections. So we discussed what that means yesterday, but today we're actually going to plot them. Reflect each figure over the indicated axis or line of reflection. Then plot and label the vertices of the image that results from the reflection. Use a transparent mirror to check your placement of each image. We don't have a mirror, so we're going to go ahead and cross that last line out. All right, so looking right now, we need to reflect this triangle TAM over the x-axis. Now this is important because if I didn't know that, I could reflect it over the y-axis, which I don't want to do. So we need to reflect it over the x-axis. So here's how we're going to do that today. All right. So I'm going to start with point T, and looking at point T, I can see that that is at -4, -1, and it's 1 away from the x-axis. So when I reflect it, it's not just going to be on the x-axis. I have to go 1 away from it. So 1 away from it on this side would be -4, +1, and that's going to be my point T prime. Now looking at point A, I can see that that's at -4, -3. So instead of being at -4, -3, it's going to be at -4 still. As I reflect, I'm going to stay on that line. But now it's going to be at +3. So I can kind of look at those relationships here. Another way to check it is looking and seeing how far away points T and A are. 1, 2. Up here, again, they'll be 2 apart. And I need to write down that this is A prime. Now looking at point M, that's at -2, -3. So based on what we did before, we know it will still be at -2. We're just flipping it here. And instead of being at -3, it's going to be at +3. So -2, +3, and that is M prime. Now remember, you're using a straight edge to connect these. I don't have a straight edge. There is my reflected triangle. It should look exactly like that. We're going to look at one more right here. We're going to reflect our rectangle STUV over the y-axis. So good thing to look at this one. Now we're reflecting over the y-axis. Whoops, I don't want to draw over it. I'll highlight it for us. Y-axis right here. So I always like to start with the points that are closest to the line of reflection, which is in this case our y-axis. So I'm going to start with point U. You could start with point T. You could start with any point, but I just like to start here. And again, I can see that it's 1 away from the axis, so I know I'm going to be 1 away over here. And instead of being at -1, 2, it's going to be at +1, 2. And that's my U prime, +1, 2. I'm going to look at point T now, -1, +4. So if I'm flipping it, it's going to be at +1, 4, T prime. Now I'm going to go ahead and do S. For S, one way we can look at it is saying, okay, S and T are 1, 2, 3 apart. So I could go ahead and just count over here, 1, 2, 3. But just to make sure I'm accurate, I'm going to look at the coordinates. -4, 4. So if I flip it, it's going to be at +4, 4. And that's S prime. Now V prime, since we have a rectangle, we can probably guess just by looking where it is. But again, checking our coordinates, -4, +2. This time, if I'm flipping it, it'll be +4, 2. And that's V prime. And then connecting, mine's a little messy, so remember you're using a straight edge. Those are our reflections. Now I want you to try to do these reflections on your own. Something just to help you out though. This one you're reflecting over, whoops, lost my highlighter again. This one we're reflecting over the y-axis. Notice one of my points is right on the y-axis, so if I flip it or reflect it, it's still going to be right there, hint for you. And then when we're reflecting number 4, our square, over line M, this is where they want us to reflect it. So you're not looking at X or Y, you're looking at this line and the relationship between the points and that line. I just gave you another little hint there. All right, looking at the next page, page 181, we're moving to rotations. Now, I like to be able to show you in person how to do a rotation. You can see on this page it's already been started. So what we're actually going to do is when you get to this point, if you feel comfortable trying, don't look at this. If you feel comfortable trying, you can go ahead and give it a try. But I would actually like to work with each group on this. So again, if you feel comfortable, give it a try. You will want to be using your protractor, looking at these particular degrees. Something else you could do is you can try to reflect if you want, and then you can have me check it and work with you. But we're actually not going to talk about this together right now during the video because I want to be doing that with you. It's a little bit trickier than our other two. For your assignment today, you have math journal pages that we started 180 together. You need to finish that. 181 are reflections, and then 182 you'll be doing some review with degree measures of sector. IXL today, you have a lot of options. I kept the options from yesterday, DD2, DD3, and then I'm adding DD4 and DD5 moving into the reflections and the rotations. And that's all that you have today.